Hi students, welcome to NIRS Education. So as we are discussing the lesson crop production and management, we are discussing about the agricultural practices. So the production of the crop is not only the important, its maintenance, its management also is going to get equal percentage of the importance, because the storage of the produce is an very important task, because the crops which are grown, they should be keep for very longer time. They should be safe from the moisture and the other organisms also. If the crop grains are be kept for the longer time, so we have to save them, we have to keep them safe from the moisture, the rats, the microorganisms and insects also. The fresh crops has more moisture, that we already know that, because freshly prepared or freshly produced crops they have not dried properly. So if the freshly harvested grains are stored without drying in the sun, they may get spoiled or attacked by the organisms, and they will lose their germination capacity also. Hence, it's very important that we have to dry them in the sun properly. Before storing them, we have to store them, we have to keep them, we have to dry them in the heat of the sun or in the dried in the sun for the proper time, and we have to reduce the moisture which is present in them. So that will prevent the attack of the pests, insects, bacteria as well as the fungi. And in our areas, our farmers store the grains normally in the jute bags or in the metallic bins. So the large scale storage of grains is done in silos and granaries. So these will protect them from the pests like the rat and insects. So you can see here in this picture, so these are the silos for storage of grains which are made by the metals, and that will not allow the rats or the microorganisms to spoil the food materials. So these are the silos. These will be used for the storage of large scale food items or the grains. But in our areas, the farmers will use the jute bags for the storage of the grains, cereals and the other food materials. So from the ancient times, the farmers are going to use the dried neem leaves are going to be used for the storing food grains at the home, because its bitter smell and taste that will not allow the production of the microorganisms and the other food spoiling organisms like the rats. So the dried neem leaves are used for the storing of the food grains at the home. Nowadays we are going to use some chemical tablets also, as well as we are going to use the boric acid that will be mixed along with the grains. So that will also not allow for the growth of microorganisms. So for the storing large quantities of grains in the big godowns, the specific chemical treatments are very necessary and are required to protect them from the pests and the microorganisms. So if we are going to take the preventions like this, then only it is possible to save the grains from the spoiling. Otherwise, whatever the efforts we have been taken in its production, that is all going to spoil. So the how much importance the production is going to take place, that much importance is also is there in the management. So it is very necessary to protect, to save, to manage the grains after the production. So already we have seen that these are the different types of agricultural practices in which we are going to follow one by one from the first step, like the preparation of soil, to the storage. So once again let's move towards the agricultural practices list, what we are going to do in the production and management of the crops. So here it is, the list of the agricultural practices. So that is the preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, irrigation, protecting from the weeds, harvesting, and finally the storage. So these are the 7 very important agricultural practices. If we follow these things in the scientific manner, so the farmers are the farmers will be in the profit definitely. So we will save the nature, we will get the more and more yield, and we will get the more profit. So now let's move towards the next concept, that is the food from the animals. So already we know that the human beings are dependent on many different animals for the different purposes. So the variety of food items are there which are obtained from the animals. So for example, we are going to get the milk from the cow, buffalo, goat, camel, and many other animals are also there. So these are this is the one example. And next, the meat that we will get from the goat, from the chicken, from the buffalo, from the other animals also. And the fur that we are going to use for the preparation of the clothes in the different areas. So like this we can use the animals for the different purposes. So here we are discussing about how the animals are useful in getting the foods. So here you must have been seen that like the plants, animals also provide us the different kinds of food materials. So many people living in the coastal areas, they consume the fish as a major part of their diet. And in the previous classes you have already learnt about the food that we obtain from the plants. So we have just seen that the process of crop production involves a number of steps like selection of seeds, sowing, and preparation of soil, and irrigation, protection from the weeds, and many other steps. So similarly here also, the animals which are rare at home or in the farms have to be provided with the proper food, shelter, and proper care. So when these things are done on a large scale, that is called the animal husbandry. So the rearing of the animals and providing the proper food, shelter, and care for the animals in the large scale, that is called the animal husbandry. Okay, so animal husbandry means that is the taking care of the animals for the purpose of the profit for the human beings in the large scale. If we are rearing the animals in the large scale for the purpose of profit, so that is called animal husbandry. Animal husbandry means that may be any kind of animals that we are going to rear. Rearing of the buffaloes, rearing of the cows, rearing of the goats, chicken, or a rearing of the fish, poultry farming, or fish farming, so sericulture farming, so honeybees farming. So these are all the different types of the animal husbandries. So in which this is all comes under the animal husbandry, rearing of the animals for the different purposes. Okay, that may be for the purpose of the food, that may be the purpose of the silk, that may be the purpose of the milk, that may be the purpose of the meat, that may be the purpose of getting any other kind of the animal medicinal uses. So these are all comes under the animal husbandry only. So regarding this one, we have a very detailed lesson in the 9th standard that we will discuss later, how the animal husbandry is useful and what comes under this concept, that we will discuss later. So this lesson is going to complete here only. So if you have any doubts regarding this lesson, you can send the questions to my WhatsApp number. Thank you and have a nice day.